So you got through markups and markdowns, but you still have a few more problems to do. So what I want you to do is answer these 3 on your own, and of course, answer these questions. Now, read through them. You're going to compare 2 sales, Shoe Carnival versus DSW, Designer Shoe Warehouse. Okay? Answer the questions. Compare the 2 signs. What do you notice? Now actually solve them. Which store gives you the better price based off of a pair of shoes that's $59.99? And then which store ultimately would you shop at? And then explain why. All right, so do that on your own and get that checked. And we're going to actually, this part of this lesson is going to move on to percent error. It's easy, you guys. It literally is just this formula. So deep breaths, but it can be messed up. And you know who I'm talking about if you're not paying attention. All right, so basically what we're doing is business owners, airlines have to do an estimation to find out how much they're going to buy of something. Okay. You as a customer have to do an estimate. If you're putting on like an event, you have to do an estimation of how much you might want to buy versus how many you'll actually need. And what this does is this calculates your percent error. And business owners really need to know this to know if I'm getting an error over and over again, there's something's wrong. That might also tell us if we need to increase or decrease a price as well. So calculating the percent error is one way to compare an estimated value to an actual value. To compute percent error, we're literally just going to follow this. We're going to find the difference, we're going to subtract, and then divide. That's how easy this is. So I abbreviate this actual value as AV minus your estimated value, EV, because I'm not writing that out every time. And then, of course, this bar means to divide, and you're going to divide that by what your actual amount was. So we're going to practice this, but you'll notice that you're going to get a percent error, but the percent is going to be written as a decimal, and you have to change it into a percent. So let's just review real fast. Decimal to a percent, how do I do that? So if I have a decimal, like 4.456 is what shows up on my calculator. So how do I change that to just a percent? Well, I can do real easily, move decimal point two spaces right. So in other words, move it 2 spaces right, 1, 2. So now my percent is 4.5.6, and that's my percentage. That's how I would write that as a percent. Of course, the other way of doing this, if I have decimal 4.5.6 and I want to change that to a percent, so decimal to percent, I could just times by 100. So on my calculator, once I get that, I can do times 100, and it will give me 4.5.6, and there it is as a percent. So when you share an answer, it has to be in percent form. Big thing to remember, percent form has to be as a percent. Because if you say, oh, it's 0.45%, that is a big difference between 45%. Huge difference. All right, so we're going to calculate the percent error based off of that. So you're going to do this one. I'm going to do this one. So an airline estimates that they will need an airplane that sits 224 passengers. So they sold so many, and they're like, oh, we sold a lot of this flight before. We're going to sell 200. We'll need 224. However, they only booked 180 my actual percent passengers booked. So this is my actual value. And again, this was my estimated value. This was what we estimated. So to find my error, so that way I can figure out what went wrong this time, I'm going to do my AV minus EV. So AV minus EV. So that is AV is 186. What I actually got minus 224. I'm going to divide that by my actual value, 186. Okay, so first thing, and I could write it this way as well, 186 minus 224. I get my answer. So again, using my calculator, I'm going to type that in, and I will get a negative answer. I got negative 38. So then I'm just going to move this over, which just means I'm going to now divide by 186. So negative 38 divided by 186, and all this means is to divide, remember, and that equals negative 0.20 and 4. Well, I'm just going to leave it like that. But I have to change that to a percent. So this as a percent is, move over to 12 or times 100, should give me negative 20%. So they were under by 20%. So what could cause that change? Why would on this flight, they estimated 224 because they sold a lot last time. What caused them to sell 20% less tickets? Okay, the price is too high. Bad time of year. Maybe it's a certain time of year, lots of storms, so people aren't traveling. So lots of things could change or affect why you sold less. And if it's a price thing, as a business owner, you might have to say, okay, maybe I need to lower the price. That's why like I roll back the price. Maybe I have a sale to see how we do. Or maybe I'm like, I know why we didn't sell as much. Maybe it was an event going on, and last year they were having something and more people went to that place. All right, now I want you to try this one on your own, 200. And again, this is going to be your actual value. You're going to use the same EV that's up here. Now yours is going to be over. You're just going to end up with a plus. So when you get your answer, what could cause you to sell a higher percentage this time? Because you sold more, what could cause you to sell that percentage more? Was it a lot? Not a lot? I mean, 20% isn't a lot. All right, raise your hand and check that. Now we're going to go on to this one. Now we're going to estimate flight plans. So again, how fast somebody works. What could cause a flight to change? Weather could make it go maybe slower or faster. Maybe it's a new plane. They estimated so much and then they realized that this plane actually gets them there faster because they can do more. Same with cars. More efficient. Maybe they built a new road path when I'm driving. Maybe traffic could also attest to that. So lots can make it either under or over. But if it's under, I have to figure out if I'm negative, I want to make up that change. I got to figure out why. If I'm over, that's a good thing. That means I sold more, I went faster. That's a good, better benefit. So now with this one, and I'm just trying to help you guys understand why we're doing this. On this one, you notice it has hours and minutes. We got to convert everything to minutes. So if this is 60 minutes, I'm going to do 60 plus 27. And that gives me 87 minutes total. And again, it says, these are my actual values. And you're going to solve both of these. So these are both my AVs. But again, I have to change them only to minutes. So 60 plus 11 gives me how many total minutes? 2 hours, you're like, well, it's hours. But again, we have minutes up here. So I want to change this all to minutes. So 60 in 1 hour plus 60 in another gives me how many? Or 60 times 2. All right, so go ahead and take your time and figure out the percentage for both of those. One will be negative, one will be positive. All right, and that's percent error. That's how easy that is. And that's all we're going to do with it. You'll have one question on percent error on your assignment. Good job. So much when you're running a business to think about. It's amazing.